diversity of the United States and most of modern society, acculturation is an important topic in multicultural psychology. Acculturation, it is a process on individual and group change that occurs when cultural groups came into contact. Understanding the process of acculturation is important when working with immigrant clients because they are adjusting to the dominant culture. Moreover, other racial ethnic groups undergo an acculturation process because the dominant culture does not include the multiple racial and ethnic groups that are part of the United States. For example, many African Americans experience an acculturation process when growing up in black communities and then attending schools or working in predominantly white settings. John Berry describes various acculturation stages, including assimilation and marginalization. Acculturation can lead to acculturative stress in individual negative multiple cultural norms and try to meet group expectations that often conflict. However, as with racial and ethnic identity development, acculturation is not a linear process that occurs in the same ways of directions for all people and groups. Research on acculturation has shown that in some contexts, acculturation to the dominant culture can have positive psychological effects, but in many others, acculturation to the dominant culture is detrimental to development as individuals, and groups lose support from their culture and communities of origin. Psychologists such as Teresa Framboise and her colleagues have challenged the assumption that individuals from non-dominant culture groups are necessarily marginal people. Framboise and colleagues critiqued several models of second cultural acquisition and inadequate because they traditionally releged racial ethnic minority culture into inferior status. This research then presents a theory of experience discrimination and hardship in an oppressive culture. The experience of living in two cultures does not necessarily predict dysfunction. In fact, the experience of being bicultural may be positive because individuals living in more than one culture have access to multiple resources in a way of being that can result in both cognitive and emotional flexibility. The sign of both individuals' ego, identity, and cultural proposes 6 dimensions of bicultural competence: knowledge of cultural beliefs and value, positive attitudes toward majority and minority groups, bicultural efficacy, communication ability, role repertoire, and a sense of being grounded. They further adoptive process, not simply assimilation to the dominant culture or its antithesis, withdraw from dominant culture. Indeed, individuals may make conscientious choices regarding their level of biculturalism in certain settings.